Okay, I didn't let that go on the floor there. That would have been really bad. I was totally out of the special ed department. Severely autistic kid till I was 4 years old. Fortunately, got a lot of really good treatment and training. And I don't understand that there's some labels some of you guys have got. Don't let it define you. Don't let it define you. I can't say that enough. I worked over at that Greeley plant when it was Montfort's. There's a curved ramp in that plant. You can Google Earth it. You can say it. I designed that. You can also see a yard I designed over at the Cargill plant in Fort Morgan. I designed all the cattle handling stuff in the big beef plants. You can go look at beef plant video tour with Temple Grandin, which I'm not going to show right now, to show what things I've done. I was a terrible student in high school. Hated school. I went down to Cape Kennedy, and they were building a new launch pad. The special ed department built that launch pad. The special ed department built stuff for these plants, too. I worked with all kinds of really smart, skilled tradespeople that were dyslexic, ADHD, all kinds of labels. Like one guy I know, stutters, ADHD, dyslexic, autistic, horrible student, and he was lucky to take welding. He owns a metal fabrication company. He started making stuff and just selling it. I also got to go on a private jet. I can't tell you where it went, but I went to a factory that if you like stainless steel equipment, it's like Willy Wonka's stainless steel fantasy land. A multi-million-dollar business. Pure special ed department. I spent half an hour with him discussing what labels he would have had. Oppositional defiant, dyslexic, ADHD, terrible student, you name it, he was it. He started out washing dairy processing equipment. Then he started fixing it. Then he started making stuff. I go back and forth between doing talks on autism. I'm going to fly to Savannah, Georgia, and I have to spend the night at Atlanta. I had to spend the night at Atlanta in order to do this meeting. But I thought this meeting was really important, so I'm going to spend the night at Atlanta before I go on to Savannah. But don't let labels hold you back. I'm seeing too many kids become their label. This is something that drives me crazy. And these jobs like automobile shop, that's not going to go away. Artificial intelligence is going to replace a lot of jobs. It's not going to replace high-end skilled trades. Auto shop, airplane mechanic, electrical, plumbing, it's not going to replace those jobs. They want to put a few slides up here. Schools need to be putting these classes back in. I'm glad I just learned that Poudre Valley is going to be putting in a new vocational shop. We need to be keeping hands-on classes. I got students right now in graduate school that have never used a ruler. They've never measured anything. They never had a teacher copy edit their work and learn how to write either. Now we need to be keeping all kinds of hands-on things in because a person is more likely to win the Nobel Prize in a creative hobby. The other thing I'm seeing is I'm seeing a lot of grandparents worked as an engineer for a computer company or worked in a skilled trade, and granddad's finding out he was on the autism spectrum and the kids get diagnosed. I'm seeing all kinds, I understand there's a lot of kids here with learning differences. What we gotta do is work on the stuff you're good at. Build on the thing you're good at. Education puts too much on what you're bad at. And when I was really weird, the way I sold my work is I showed off pictures of my jobs. I'm not going to have time to show my whole portfolio, but I had a portfolio of things I had designed. I sold my work, not myself. Well, autism, schizophrenia, a whole lot of things like that. Same genes to make the brain big. Also cause autism and schizophrenia. You see a little bit of it, you got Silicon Valley. I have been to Google. I have been to Microsoft. Half those programmers are on the autism spectrum. All kinds of skilled trades people I work with. Dyslexic. Work with a whole bunch of dyslexics that couldn't read. Now one thing, if you're dyslexic, I want you to check out. Because for some kids that are dyslexic, when they go to read, the print jiggles on the page. The print will jiggle like this, especially under fluorescent lighting. Try printing your work on pastel paper. Light blue, light gray, light tan paper. Now the thing I want to ask you is there's some really important innovators that today would be in the special ed department, and what would happen to them today? Steve Jobs, bullied in school. Probably be labeled autistic today. Einstein didn't talk until age 3. He'd be labeled autistic today. What would happen to him today? No, I want to see you guys get out and be successful. Another thing I want to emphasize, get a try-on career. I just had a lady who wanted to be a dog groomer. I said, have you ever tried that job on? Or shadowed that job? You can find out what the job is actually all about. Too many kids are getting labeled various labels, and I'm worried about them getting screened out, not going anywhere. Well, right now, employers like the Greeley plant and Fort Morgan plant, they can't hire enough maintenance people. The Denver airport is hiring mechanics right now. People to fix planes. And I'll tell you right now, they need people to fix escalators and moving sidewalks. Because they need a lot of work on that stuff. Yeah, somebody's got to work on fixing that stuff. Big businesses run by people that are dyslexic, ADHD. Yeah, they may have been lousy in school, but they had a vision to do some really nice businesses like JetBlue and IKEA. Those were good businesses. And Thomas Edison today would have been labeled a hyperactive adult high school dropout. In fact, that was his diagnosis back in his day. Adult hyperactive high school dropout. That was Edison. Probably had autism. I can't emphasize enough the importance of learning working skills. I'm seeing too many kids with a label, getting way too babied by their parents. They're not learning shopping. They're not learning money. They're not learning basic skills like get up to make sure you're ready. Yeah, these are things you need to be learning. I had a fabulous science teacher that helped me. Really great science teacher. And the thing is, I started to study when education became a pathway to a goal of becoming a scientist. I think educators need to be looking a whole lot more at where is a student 10 years after high school. Hope they're in a good job. They're not playing video games in the basement on a social security check. Video game designer, for most kids, not a realistic goal. And you gotta learn how to drive. Might take a little longer. More practice in a really, really safe place. I loved invention and patents. I've got a book for younger kids called Calling All Minds, all about making things. This is one of my most important slides, the different kinds of minds. And there's scientific evidence that these different kinds of minds actually exist. There really are different ways people think. And a lot of people that are super good at a skilled trade are visual thinkers. They think in pictures. See, when I design things, I think in pictures. Now, a lot of the visual thinkers can be super good at auto mechanics, super good at building a JBS plant now. It was Moffitt's when I was working on it. Can't do algebra. I'm seeing an algebra requirement locking too many students out. You don't need algebra for any skilled trade stuff. What you do need, old-fashioned 6th grade math like they taught it in the 50s. That you need. Like if you want to find the area. Another kind of thinker is your pattern thinker. These are your computer programmers, your mathematicians. They think patterns. They don't think pictures, they think patterns. A lot of these kids have problems with reading. And then you got verbal people, really good with language. And I found out I got a big visual thinking circuit in my head. There's another view of it. Now, I have a problem with working memory. A lot of kids who have a learning difference. Working memory is bad. It's sort of like being a phone with one bar. You might have a Microsoft Cloud for memory, but you're going to use it through a phone with one bar. So tasks that involve a sequence, make a pilot's checklist. Because when you have a working memory problem, it's hard to remember a sequence of events. Even something simple, like tearing down the McDonald's ice cream machine, cleaning it, and then putting it back together again. Another thing, for the people that are working with people on the autism spectrum, no surprises. If you're going to remodel the shop, they need to know about it beforehand. But I want to see you guys get out there and be successful. Well, I want to bust up the medical model. And I like to use engineering talk when I talk about learning differences, and we'll use, say, medical model for airplanes. And I just got a little bit of educational jargon gobbledygook laid on me this morning. Well, I had a flight one time from from Atlanta to Jacksonville. And my plane was having problems, and 3 mechanics were having a big meeting around my plane, and I watched them through the airport window, and I'm going to tell you some good gobbledygook. My plane had a microbleed in the anterior proximal rotary appendage. That's describing it correctly, that's gobbledygook. Had a hydraulic leak. You see, the wheel's distal. I can always hire a mathematician, they can't hire me. He was probably a visual thinker. And we got to find stuff that you're good at. And you're going to get a chance today to look at a whole lot of different trades. Get a chance to try some of these things on. Because you want to find out what you like, but you also find out stuff you might hate, too. Someone might look at something, oh, I'd really like to do that job, like maybe a doctor. And there's been kids that have been forced to become doctors and then hated it. I'd rather fix cars or build things over at the JBS plant on Cargill. Being a doctor, they're just tied to their computer all day and forced to see people really quickly. What I want to do right now is let's just open it up to some questions. And I'm going to pick somebody if nobody has any questions. Okay. Nobody has any questions? I can't believe it. Just can't believe it. Okay, I'm going to pick somebody. All righty. How about you right here? How about you? You got a question? No questions? I should have told you that. I am a professor of animal science at CSU, and I've been there since 1990. And one of the things I've tried to do in my profession is cross the gap between academia and the practical.
I know.
I spent 25 years
I watched in health class.
where I would sell a job, then I'd draw up the drawings, then I'd supervise its construction, then we'd start it up and make it work. And you can see those things if you look up Beef Plant Video Tour with Temple Grandin. We have too much of a problem with people just getting stuck in the silos. And I'm seeing too many kids with their whole agenda build things. They put up new buildings on our campus. I talked to the job manager of 2 of those projects. They can't get electricians. Good jobs, not going to go away. The computers aren't going to make those jobs go away. But I've been in some states where you say, I can't do algebra because it doesn't make any sense to me. And I managed to get out of algebra by a quirk in the educational system in '67, where the fad was to do probability and statistics instead. So that's how. Online, type into Google video, automated warehouse. Videos will come up to show you how that works. There's a lot of equipment in there. Now you go in there and you work your butt off, you better do every job on that floor. I've seen this happen in the meat industry. Learn every job on the floor, and then they end up running the maintenance department and the engineering department. But you got to put in your dues. You can't just walk in there and tell them to just do stuff. You've got to learn every job on that floor and work your butt off. And then when the robots break, you fix them. You know what? You can design the next warehouse. Okay, and you have a lot of trouble for it? And I got to always be on my best behavior all the time. But I started out one little project at a time. And another thing that helped me in my career was writing. There's a scene in the HBO movie where I go up and I get the editor's card because I realized that if I wrote for the State Farm magazine about projects and things I did, that could really help my career and then also sell jobs. But I started out one little project at a time and slowly built it up. Didn't happen overnight. Well, in 9th grade, I got kicked out of high school for fighting, out of a regular high school. And my mother sent me to a boarding school that was on a farm. Actually, she let me pick it from like 3 special schools. I spent 3 years running their horse farm. Didn't do any studying during that time, but I got really good at cleaning horse stalls, fixing the horse barn, feeding horses, putting them in and out. I learned how to work. And when I find that these granddaddies come up to me, 50, 60-year-old grandfathers, they're engineers, computer programmers, accountants, various different jobs. They had paper routes at age 11. Another thing we gotta do is paper route substitutes. Okay, there's church right here. There's lots of paper route substitutes. Helping with the volunteer work where you help with serving the food. And it's a job, and you do it every week. Learn how to run that soundboard. Well, that's a fancy soundboard they got there. There's jobs for that kind of work. There's all kinds of paper route substitutes all over the place. Helping out in the farmer's market. Kids have got to learn how to work. And during that 3 years that I was running the horse barn, I learned how to work. I was not allowed to become a recluse in my room. That wasn't allowed. I had to be at meals, I had to be on time. But work ethic's really an important thing. Because once I decided to study, when my science teacher got me interested in studying, I already had work ethic.